The abandoned logging road seemed to go on forever. 5 miles of rutted dirt and washouts, winding deeper into the Pacific Northwest wilderness than I'd ever imagined taking a 7-year-old. But this was Junior's first camping trip. Our father-son adventure I'd been planning for months. And I wanted it to be perfect, special, just the two of us. My youngest son, Chris, age 3, was still too young for this kind of expedition. He'd stayed home with his mom, probably building blanket forts and watching cartoons. But Junior, my brave, curious Junior, had been counting down the days since I'd promised him this trip. "Think we're far enough yet, Dad?" Junior asked, trying to sound older than his 7 years as he pointed out every hawk and deer trail like a seasoned woodsman. I checked the odometer again. We'd left the rarely traveled paved Forest Service road 5 miles back, bouncing down this old logging road that looked like it hadn't seen maintenance trucks in decades. "Yeah, buddy, this should do it." The truth was, this was much deeper than I'd originally planned. The idea had been maybe a mile down the dirt road, then a short hike into the tree line to find a good spot. But every potential campsite we'd passed had fresh tire tracks, or beer cans, or some other sign of recent human presence. For Junior's first camping experience, I wanted pristine wilderness, untouched nature, the real deal. So we kept going, and going, until the forest swallowed us whole, and the only tracks in the dust were ours. Finally, we parked the truck and shouldered our packs. The hike took us another 2 miles through dense timber, following what might have been a game trail. Junior never complained, just kept trucking along with that determined look he got when he was trying to prove he was tough enough for something. There, I pointed to a natural clearing ahead. That's it. It was perfect. A small meadow surrounded by towering Douglas firs, with a creek bubbling somewhere nearby. The ground was flat and soft with years of fallen needles. Most importantly, it showed no signs of previous campers. We were the first people to discover this spot. "Home sweet home," I said, trying to sound more confident than I felt. A 2-mile hike from the truck, and another 5 down the dirt logging road to the main road. A long way if something went wrong. Junior was already surveying our campsite like a tiny general. "Good visibility. Water sounds close. Flat ground for the tent. I approve." I had to laugh. This kid watched too many survival shows. We made quick work of setting up camp. Junior had insisted on practicing at home, so he knew exactly which pole went where, how to stake the corners tight. His little hands moved with purpose, no wasted motion. When had he gotten so competent? "Fire next?" he asked, already gathering kindling. You read my mind. The afternoon melted away in that perfect camping rhythm. Gather wood, tend fire, explore the immediate area. Junior found the creek about 50 yards through the trees, narrow but clear, probably fed by snowmelt from higher up. We sat on a fallen log and watched water striders dance across the surface. "Dad, how come it's so quiet here?" He was right. This deep in, even the birds seemed subdued. Just the creek and the wind way up in the canopy. Less people means less noise. Animals probably aren't used to humans here. "Cool," he said, but I noticed him glance around more often after that. Dinner was the camping standard. Charred hot dogs, with beans that stuck to the bottom of the pot, and s'mores that fell apart before you could eat them. Junior declared it the best meal ever. Dark comes fast in the deep woods. One moment you can see individual needles on the pines. The next you can barely make out the trees themselves. Our fire pushed back the darkness with a small circle of light, but beyond that, the forest was a wall of black. "Tell me a scary story," Junior said, poking at the coals with a stick. "You sure? It's pretty dark out here already." He gave me a look that was pure preteen disdain. "I'm 7, Dad, not a baby." "Okay, you asked for it," I said with a grin on my face. I've waited his whole life for this moment. I proceeded to tell him about the Wendigo, keeping it adventurous but scary. Then the skinwalker, with its ability to take any form. Finally, the rake, that pale, gaunt thing that stalked through forests just like this one. Junior listened with wide eyes, occasionally glancing at the forest behind him. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment. That's not real though, right? No, buddy, just stories. Good, he said. He let out a long, exhausted yawn. Because I'm too tired to fight any monsters tonight. We banked the fire and crawled into the tent. Junior was asleep almost instantly, one hand curled around his flashlight like a teddy bear. I lay there listening to his breathing, to the small sounds of the forest settling for the night. 7 miles in. Why had I let us come so far? Sleep took me eventually, the kind that comes from fresh air and physical tiredness, deep and dreamless. Until Junior laughed. It was his sweet little laugh, the one that always made me smile. I blinked awake and turned to watch him, expecting to see him dreaming about something funny. He had a big smile on his face and kept laughing softly, lost in whatever pleasant dream was playing in his head. It was cute. Until I heard another giggle. From outside the tent, in the woods, it sounded like the giggle of a little kid. Every nerve in my body fired at once. I lay frozen, listening. In his sleep, Junior mumbled clearly, "I can't come out and play, it's dark out." A voice responded, small, young, familiar. "I don't want to play by myself." My heart stopped. That was Chris's voice, my 3-year-old son who was safe at home with my wife, 100 miles away. But it was perfect. The slight lisp, the way he drew out the word myself. I almost died of shock and fright. The conversation continued for several more minutes. Junior, still clearly asleep, would mumble responses while the thing outside used my youngest son's voice to try to coax him out. Each exchange made my blood run colder. "But I'm scared," Chris's voice said. "Can't you come out here?" "No," Junior replied dreamily. "Dad says stay in the tent." "I miss you," the voice said, and it was so perfectly Chris, the way he said it when Junior had been at school all day. I forced myself to move, muscles locking and unlocking like rusted hinges. My hand found the Judge revolver buried in my pack, 5 rounds of .410 and .45 Colt. And right now, it felt like the only thing between us and whatever had come laughing out of the dark. Always prepared. Thank God I was always prepared. Quietly, I shifted toward the front of the tent. My hands trembled as I reached for the zipper. The fabric sounded loud in the silence, a rasp that cut through the night like a scream. I braced myself, Judge in one hand, flashlight in the other. I clicked the flashlight on. Nothing. No flicker, no hum, just dead silence. I clicked it again, then again. Again, the switch made a dry, useless sound. "Damn it," I whispered under my breath. I smacked the flashlight with the heel of my palm, as if frustration could summon power from dead batteries. Then I spoke, more to force my voice to work than anything else. "I have a gun." The words came out louder than I expected. They wavered at the edges, but held together, barely. The giggling stopped. The forest held its breath. I stepped out of the tent's shadow and began scanning the darkness, trying to orient myself. Tree shapes, fire ring, the truck somewhere behind us. I made a slow circle, trying to find the source of the voice. The woods felt alive, watching, holding something back, just out of sight. Then I saw them. Eyes, floating in the black between 2 massive firs, low to the ground, reflective and green, unblinking, exactly where a 3-year-old's eyes would be. My chest seized. "Daddy!" The voice called softly. Chris's voice, perfect in pitch and tone, the exact way he sounded when he was scared, but off, like it was being funneled through a long pipe, distant, warped, wet. "Daddy, I'm scared. Can you come here and help me?" I leveled the judge and whispered through clenched teeth, "You are not my son." The eyes didn't blink. Instead, they began to rise, not quickly, deliberately, like it wanted me to understand, like it was showing me. 3 feet, 5, 7. The trees seemed to lean away from it, as if recoiling. The space between the trunks, which had looked wide before, now strained to contain whatever was standing there. 10 feet, 12. 12 feet off the ground, the eyes stopped. Behind me, something grabbed my arm. I almost fired. My whole body jerked. It was Junior. He was awake, very awake. His eyes wide, jaw tight. He looked up at me and whispered, "Dad, that's not Chris." And the thing hurt him. It responded with a breath, no, a rupture of air, so violently loud it seemed to tear through the fabric of the forest. A massive huff, but not like any beast. It sounded like the earth itself exhaling through a torn throat. Then it made a sound, not a growl, not language, but something in between, slick and resonant, wet, cavernous. As if filtered through flesh and bone, it vibrated the world. I felt it slam into my chest like an invisible fist, rattling my ribs. The trees convulsed in sympathetic agony. Trunks groaned, branches twitched, pine needles sheared loose in waves, spiraling down like wilted confetti tossed at a corpse's farewell. Then came the roar, a full-body, mind-shattering bellow that made my ears ring and my spine want to fold in half. Pine cones fell. I heard something splinter in the distance, not a branch, a tree. The eyes flared from amber to red, and then the underbrush exploded. Something massive crashed through, and I saw it clearly, or rather I saw the space it displaced. The dark folded around it, warped in ways my mind couldn't track. It was done with its game now, and was heading for us. The truck. My voice cracked. I reached into the tent and yanked out my small rucksack. Inside were my truck keys, wallet, and essentials. No time to check anything else. "Go," I barked, and we ran. We ran blind, 2 miles of pitch-black wilderness in a forest we didn't know, with something worse than death behind us. The branches clawed at us like fingers. The ground rose and fell without warning. Behind us, that monstrous form crashed forward. Closer, closer, snap, crack, boom. The sound of trees giving way like matchsticks. Dad, I can't," Junior gasped, his breath hitching, legs slowing. "Yes, you can. You're doing great. Just keep going." My hand gripped his shoulder, urging him forward. I didn't care if we fell. I didn't care if I broke an ankle. Just keep moving. The sound of the thing shifted. It wasn't behind us anymore. It was around us, like the woods themselves were moving. We ran for what felt like hours, lungs burning, legs rubber. Junior never quit. He didn't whimper or panic, just kept pushing forward, like a little soldier who was locked in on our mission to survive. And then, salvation. The truck. A dark shape against the darkness. I almost cried when I saw it. "Dad, the keys!" Junior yelled, eyes wide with relief and fear. I fumbled them out, dropped them, swore, picked them up, dropped them again. My hands were shaking like I'd been hypothermic for a week. Then I noticed it. The smell. Rot, burnt hair, copper. Something foul and old. Black gunk streaked the hood and bumper of the truck. Thick, tar-like, oozing down in rivulets that smoked slightly in the cool night air. I had 1 second to register it before the trees behind us split open with a crash that shook the frame of the truck. No time to investigate. No time to think. I got the door open and shoved Junior inside, threw the ruck behind him, jumped into the driver's seat. The judge was still in my hand, and the eyes were moving again. "Dad!" Junior was pulling at my shirt. "It's coming." Keys in, engine turning over. Thank God, thank you God. And we were moving. I didn't bother turning around, just threw it in reverse and floored it. Trees flashed by in the backup lights. Something massive moved at the edge of our vision. 5 miles of dirt road, 5 miles of washouts and turns, with that thing behind us. "Dad, look!" Junior was twisted in his seat, watching behind us. His voice was steady, controlled. "When did my little boy become so brave?" "I can see its eyes, Dad. It's following." I pushed the truck as fast as I dared. The suspension screamed over every bump. In the mirrors, 2 amber lights floated in the darkness, keeping pace easily. A tree fell across the road behind us, close enough that we felt the impact. "It's trying to trap us," Junior said, matter of fact. "We need to go faster." 3 miles to go, 2 miles. The eyes never fell back, never got closer, just followed. "Dad," Junior's hand found mine on the gear shift. "We have to be brave, for Mom and Chris." My throat closed up. "You're right, buddy. Let's keep being brave. You've been amazing. And don't worry, we're almost out." 1 mile to go. I could see the junction with the main road ahead. The eyes suddenly vanished from the mirrors. "Where did it?" I started. The road in front of us exploded. Something massive had landed, cratering the dirt road. In the headlights dimmed, and we saw nothing but a wall of dark that hurt to look at. The eyes opened, now level with our windshield. I yanked the wheel hard right. The truck went up on 2 wheels, crashed back down, missed the thing by inches. Then we were past, hitting the main road at 60 miles an hour, tires screaming as they found pavement. "Is it?" "Still there," Junior said, "but falling back. I don't think it wants to come to the road." I drove 16 miles before I started breathing again. We found a gas station, one of those creepy ones that felt like it existed outside of time. Fluorescents buzzing, old pumps, and an attendant who looked like he'd been there since the 60s. We just sat in the parking lot, engine running, watching the tree line. "Dad," Junior said quietly, "we can't tell Mom and Chris." I looked at him, surprised. His face was serious, older than 7-year-olds should be. "She'll never let us go camping again. And when Chris is older, she won't let him come either. He should get to go camping, just not there." The maturity in his voice broke my heart. Yeah, you're right." Junior was quiet for a moment, then said, "Dad, maybe it wasn't a good idea to talk about wendigos and skinwalkers and the rake in the middle of the forest at night. Maybe we called something out by doing that." I stared at him. Out of the mouths of babes. "You might be right, buddy. New rule going forward. No scary stories while camping." He nodded solemnly. "Good rule." We left all our stuff. Mom is going to be mad. "Don't worry, I'll figure something out. I'll tell her it was stolen or something." Junior nodded. Then, with a weak smile, "Let's never go camping there again, though." I laughed, actually laughed. "That goes without saying, buddy." We sat there until dawn, watching the forest, making sure nothing followed us out. When the sun finally came up, we drove home in silence. When we got home, my wife was surprised to see us home so soon. We had originally planned to be gone for another 4 days. I told my wife our gear was stolen from the truck while we were hiking, and we had to go stay in a motel in a nearby town. She bought it, more concerned that we were okay than about missing camping equipment. Chris climbed all over Junior, babbling about how much he missed him. Junior held him tight, and I saw him studying his little brother's face. making sure it was really him. That was 3 weeks ago. Life went back to normal, or something close to normal. Junior seemed fine, even asked when we could go camping again. Different place, obviously. Maybe the coast. Somewhere with fewer trees and more people. I was amazed at how resilient he was after that ordeal, being able to move on and still want to go camping. I was the one who couldn't let it go. Found myself watching the forest that bordered our property. We lived on the edge of town, where the wilderness met civilization. 5 acres of mostly cleared land, but the back 2 were still wild. Never bothered me before. Now I couldn't stop staring at those trees. I started taking my coffee out on the back deck at night, after the house fell asleep and the world outside turned slow and hollow. Told myself it was for the quiet, the stars, the breeze in the pines, but that was a lie I only half believed. I was watching, waiting. For what, I didn't know. Only that something was out there. Two nights ago, it looked back. Just a flicker, 2 amber lights floating between the trees, low to the ground and motionless. Could have been a deer, could have been anything. But deer don't hold still that long, not 20 minutes, not without so much as a twitch, and deer don't blink, not from amber to green. Not back again, not in time with your own heartbeat. I stared until my coffee went cold in my hands. I told myself to go back inside. I didn't, couldn't. Something about those lights pinned me there, like I was the one being watched behind glass. Then, just before I turned away, they moved, only an inch, a half step, deeper into the dark. Not walking, not shifting, just sliding. No sound, no crack of twig or rustle of branch. And all at once, I knew with a kind of quiet certainty that whatever it was, it hadn't just noticed me. It had been waiting too. Last night was worse. I was out there again, judge on the table next to my coffee. The eyes were closer, just inside our property line, maybe 50 yards from the house. They stayed for an hour, unblinking, then vanished between 1 second and the next. Tonight, tonight everything changed. I was in my usual spot, watching the tree line. The eyes appeared right on schedule, same spot as yesterday. I was almost getting used to them, almost convincing myself I was imagining things. Then I heard Junior's voice from the woods. "Dad, when can we go camping again?" My blood turned to ice. I knew for a fact that Junior was asleep in his room. I'd checked on him 20 minutes ago. "I really want to go camping, Dad. Can we go this weekend?" The voice was perfect, every inflection, every tone. But Junior was inside, safe, asleep. "Please, Dad. I promise I'll be good." Then another voice joined it, higher, younger. "Yeah, can I come too this time? I'm big enough now." Chris. That was Chris's voice, eager and excited. Both my boys' voices coming from the dark between the trees, but both my boys were in the house, safe, asleep, weren't they? I stood up so fast the chair fell over. The eyes blinked slowly, almost amused. "Dad?" Both voices now in perfect harmony. "Come camping with us." I backed toward the door, hand finding the knob. The voices followed me, getting closer. Branches snapped. Something big was moving through the trees, coming toward the house. "We found such a nice spot, Dad, deep in the woods, just for us." The voice distorted right at the end. I stumbled inside, locked the door, and threw the deadbolt. I ran to the boys' rooms. They were both there, sleeping peacefully. But outside, their voices kept calling. Eventually, the voices stopped. That was about an hour ago. But I know the eyes are still out there, watching, waiting. So here I am, sitting at the kitchen table, judge still loaded, coffee cold, laptop open to every forum and website about Pacific Northwest cryptids, forest spirits, things that mimic human voices. I'm not finding anything that fits. No stories, no legends, nothing that explains what it wants or how it followed us home. But I keep thinking about the black gunk we found on my truck. I should have mentioned it sooner. Remember that black gunk that was on my truck? I was able to examine it in the daylight. It was smeared across the hood and front bumper, thick wet streaks like something rubbed up on the truck and left part of itself behind. The texture wasn't like oil or tar. It was softer, clinging, almost pulpy, like rot scraped fresh from something that shouldn't be alive. I took the truck through the car wash. Once, twice, 6 times in total. Each pass dulled the smell a little more, of the overpowering stench. But it didn't just wash away. The gunk was being left behind. Clots of it sliding off into the brushes, dripping onto the concrete, pooling where the runoff drained. I noticed the attendants. They kept looking over, whispering, pulling faces. One of them finally started walking toward me, nose wrinkled like he was going to demand an explanation. I didn't give him the chance. I left, fast. The smell's mostly gone now. But sometimes, when I start the engine, when I open the door too quick or leave the windows cracked, I catch it. Just a whiff, extremely faint, but still there, like it never really left. Whatever that stuff was, I don't think it was just residue. I think it was part of it, a sloughed-off layer, and I think it used it to find me. At dinner this evening, Junior asked if we could look at camping gear this weekend to replace what was stolen. I said maybe. I tried to sound normal. But I saw him glance at the tree line as he asked. I saw something in his eyes I didn't like, because here's what really scares me. Junior's been sleeping with his window open. Says he likes the fresh air. And sometimes, late at night, I hear him talking in his sleep. Having conversations, laughing at jokes I can't hear. This morning I found pine needles on his bedroom floor. He said they must have blown in, but there was no wind last night. I'm going to board up his window. Hell, maybe all the windows. I'm going to call in sick tomorrow and keep both boys home from school. I'm going to figure out what this thing is and what it wants, because I know with cold certainty that it's not done with us. It followed us home, found where we lived, learned about us, all for a reason, because it didn't come alone. There's been a second set of eyes, not always visible, but always there, watching from the tree line, never still, never in the same place. And then, last night, I saw them both. 2 sets, opposite ends of the yard, no movement, no sound, just watching. But they weren't fixed, each pair slowly shifting color, from amber to green, green to white, fading into shades that don't exist in any animal I've ever known. Worse than that was the way they moved without moving. One set rose higher in the branches, 15, 20 feet up, like whatever it belonged to had started climbing or stretching. The other sank lower, as if crawling on its belly beneath the undergrowth. I couldn't tell which one was watching me, or if it mattered. What kind of abomination crosses 100 miles of wilderness in under 3 weeks, just to find 2 people who caught a glimpse of it? We never should have gone so deep in those woods. 7 miles into the wilderness, 7 miles into their territory, and now they are here, in our territory. I'm going to end this, somehow. I'm going to protect my family, whatever it takes, because I'm the dad, and that's what dads do. We protect, we fight, we do whatever is necessary. I need to check on the boys again, make sure they're still in their beds, still safe. The voices from the woods are getting better, more convincing. And sometimes, when Junior looks at the forest and smiles, I wonder if I'm already too late. I just looked out the window and spotted movement. 2 sets of eyes are moving towards the house. I can hear Chris's voice again, but this time it's not calling for me or Junior. This time it's calling for my wife. "Mommy, can you come outside? I'm scared." I just thumbed back the hammer on the judge. The cylinder's loaded. My hands are shaking, but I'm going out there. God help us. God help us all.